Hello there. This is where the fun begins.
What's up, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we are going to be discussing a little bit with the Acolyte into the regards of its Disney Plus budget and how this actually comes as a shock compared to many other, not just Star Wars, but other Marvel even Disney Plus projects and shows. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna hop right on into it. I'm definitely very excited to see what the Acolyte has to offer here, and just seeing this overall information and tease here for the upcoming series is very, very exciting. In this video, we are going to be taking a read from the Direct's article. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. As a read, Disney had a bigger pre-production budget for one upcoming Disney Plus Star Wars series than even the big screen blockbusters like Rogue One. Ever since Star Wars entered the world of streaming and with Disney Plus, the money behind these TV shows have been closely watched by both fans and executives. As Disney's reevaluates its streaming strategy recently, this rampant spending looks like it will start to die down. Or at least that is what the Walt Disney CEO Bob Iger has said about that. And what that means and why that's important for us as fans is that means that there would be less of shows overall coming out, but it also has a worry strain on the quality of these shows as well and overall projects as well. I have discussed this a little bit here on the channel before in and out of videos, but seeing the overall budgeting go down for many of these Disney Plus projects inside and out of Star Wars, I don't personally see that as a worry for the overall quality of many of these projects. I've said this before, but essentially with what we're seeing, how Disney wants to spend less on these Disney Plus projects is that they've gone up. They've been trickling up ever since the launch of Disney Plus. So what they're trying to do is bring it back down to how it originally kind of was when their first couple of shows, mostly for Marvel, were coming out, but also like The Mandalorian Season 1 and that overall budgeting kind of area, Season 2 of The Mandalorian as well, and for my Marvel fans out there as well, like WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier had much lower budgets. I will also say, if you're a Marvel fan, I have a Marvel channel linked in the description down below. But yeah, essentially with seeing the budgeting go down for many of these Disney Plus projects, it isn't really a concern at the end of the day for us as an audience, and seeing the overall quality of many of our favorite projects going down, because it just probably won't. They're just trying to restrain it back to how it kind of originally was. Now, if you thought some of those beginning kind of projects were like and had bad quality, like the first two seasons of The Mandalorian, or maybe the first couple of Marvel Disney Plus shows like WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I don't really believe there to be all that much of a bad quality overall for any of those shows. You also have to factor into the idea of that many of those were shot and filmed and with COVID in mind as well, and that being a very big restraint. This overall move, though, however, will hopefully reduce some of the multi-million-dollar failures as well that fans have seen on the streaming services across the industry over the recent years. Really specifically, I feel like that targets towards the MCU with its Phase 4 projects, especially for Disney Plus. But if you think that any of the quality of any of the Star Wars shows in the recent were overly horribly bad, and I don't mean in the terms of maybe the writing, but just the way that the set design looked, or maybe the costumes and that type of thing was really bad, let me know in the comment section down below. Anyway, recently, according to a new report from Forbes, Disney has spent more on the Acolyte in its own pre-production than it did for the theatrical release for Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. The Star Wars Disney Plus series reportedly cost $49.2 million in just its pre-production stage of spending, which is $5.5 million more than Rogue One's pre-production budget of $43.7 million. Compared to another Star Wars film, the studio only spent 17% more on its pre-production costs than for The Last Jedi, which was deemed a surefire hit by Disney. Coming off the mega success of The Force Awakens, that wave is kind of bound to be smaller. The upcoming Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which is also going to be a part of the Mandoverse, taking place in the same era and alongside with the same timeline of all seasons of The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka. The Ahsoka show is said to lead directly into the events, or at least set up a lot of things for Skeleton Crew. I have a lot of videos here on the channel talking about Skeleton Crew if you don't necessarily know what it is. There have been a few teases here and there from many of the cast and crew members for Skeleton Crew to be coming out very, very soon, hopefully by the end of the year. Anyway, Skeleton Crew currently holds the record for the most expensive Star Wars streaming series with a reported budget of $136 million, nearly double than of what many of these other Star Wars projects have had in the previous, with the pre-productions at the very least. I think that would be the total budget for the entirety of Skeleton Crew. Another series is Andor, had a pre-production budget that was quite a bit higher, 38% more than the Acolytes. However, much of that can likely be attributed to the project being shot during the height of of COVID-19 and the pandemic and all of the precautions that came with that. While not yet revealed, this pre-production spend is a likely indicator that the Acolyte's overall budget will be massive towards the end of it all. Given the title's gargantuan pre-production number, it would not be all that surprising if this series came in right around Andor's $100 million mark, or possibly even higher than that, getting closer to the figure reportedly attached to Skeleton Crew. At the end of the day, somewhere between what Andor's and the Skeleton Crew's budgets were, which are some of the most pricey price tags for Star Wars Disney Plus. So we're expecting a lot. I think that if for anything, this really sets the bar a lot higher for the Acolyte in terms of its quality and its overall storytelling as well. For one thing, I don't really think that they can mess up its storytelling. It's something that's entirely completely new. It's nothing that's pre-established, so there's nothing to really mess up in those terms. Like many in some aspects, they describe the Obi-Wan Kenobi series having messed up the character, or same thing goes for Boba Fett. Those were pre-established characters. With the Acolyte, maybe the only pre-established characters that we will see would be Chewbacca, which I don't see really any necessary reason behind that, and maybe Yoda. If for anything, the Acolyte maybe could mess up some of its source material that we have from many of the High Republic books and comics, but I highly doubt that as well. Overall, over the past few months, much has been made about Disney and the rest of Hollywood cutting costs after years of rampart spending on the streaming content. This has resulted in several titles being cut from Disney's service, and Disney CEO Bob Iger making sweeping changes to the company's content strategy for the streamer. This biggest point from Iger's new plan has been an emphasis on quality over quantity, and the company being more judicious about how it spends its money. So one would think that would mean an end to this massive production budget for streaming series that the studio just hasn't necessarily seen a return on. Apparently not, at least not yet. Maybe names like Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte were too far along in its production pipeline for this budgetary chokehold to really impact them, and that's exactly what my thinking was with it. Both of these shows have been in development for quite some time at this point, and Bob Iger only did just take over as Disney CEO in November of last year, so perhaps that is why these upcoming Star Wars shows get to have the elevated budgetary figures they do. All in all, as I had mentioned a little earlier on in this video, I think that just massive budget for the Acolyte really does set the bar a little bit higher here for the show, and with terms of what the audience is expecting to see from it. So with that in mind, what do you guys want to see from the Acolyte, and what would you want to see with the overall show and the future of Disney on Disney Plus? I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.